we come to the part where we're going to collect your questions. Chris is going to come around with a basket and put them all into a basket, and then we're going to draw. I'm going to draw questions and see how I do with answering them. While she's coming around with the basket, I will take the opportunity to talk about things like, why would you sing a song like Time in a Bottle in a church service? So, let me get the lyrics and I'll share them with you. Carl, is it okay if I grab them? So, Chris, you're going to go around? Great. So if you ever notice that there are these beautiful love songs that we sing on the radio, and we sing them as if we're singing them to someone else. Well, one of the things that I'm going to encourage you all to consider is when you hear a love song, I'm trying to think of the one I was listening to this morning, and it was beautiful, but it's even more beautiful. Oh, have I told you lately that I loved you? It's a lovely song. But when you hear it, it's sung as if it's sung to somebody else, right? Sung with another person in mind. But what if, instead of singing it to a person out there, you sing it to life, to God, to you, to the highest expression of you? And if you start doing that with any secular song, it will transform how you hear those words. And I did this with this song not that long ago, but the idea of spending every day till eternity passes away with the highest expression of you, with the fullest expression of love that you are, will completely transform how it looks. And then you'll see this idea of things getting in the way. There never seems to be enough time. And I realized that you're the one I want to spend time with. Completely transforms it. So if you sometimes wonder, why are they singing these very secular songs? It's because you can learn from them too. All right. Anybody want to pick a card? Any card? Diane. Taw. Thank you. Charles Fillmore, the founder of Unity, wrote extensively about unity and explains so much in his books. Which one of his books inspires you the most? Awesome question. So Charles Fillmore passed away in 1940-something. He was the co-founder of Unity with his wife, Myrtle Fillmore, and he wrote lots of books. He was quite a seeker. And the book that I like the most of his is called Atom Smashing Power of the Mind, because it really is a book about quantum physics long before we called it quantum physics. His idea of everything is interconnected, and therefore, if you start using your mind in a way that is singular and focused, it will start to make a difference in the atoms around you. And so that is the book that is really cool, Atom Smashing Power of the Mind. So that would be, the language of the book is quite dated, of course, but well worth the read nonetheless. Atom Smashing Power of the Mind. And maybe in the spring we'll use one of those books as a book study. The fall, we're going to do a different book coming up. Well, thank you for the question. Carl? Oh, Ronnie's going to come up. Woohoo! Let's see. Can anyone go to the headquarters for Unity in the United States? Yes, anyone can go to the headquarters for Unity. So Unity's headquarters are in a place just outside of, drawing a blank, Lee Summit, Missouri is where it is. So just outside of Kansas City, Missouri. And it is on, I can't even remember how many acres of land. Charles Fillmore was a real estate agent and ended up buying this big plot of land. And it, on Unity's grounds now in the headquarters, are some buildings that are kind of built in the, almost like a Spanish feel to it. And they have a whole bunch in the middle of this like main walkway area, a whole bunch of beautiful ponds that have fountains in them and bridges over them, and it is stunningly beautiful. And apparently one of the most popular places for wedding photography in the Kansas City area, and completely free to attend. So yes. There's also a lovely hotel on site. There's a labyrinth on site. There are trails on site. There's a 9-hole golf course on site. And of course, it's the home of Unity offices, Unity School. There's another school in Detroit as well. But as the school, the main school, I shouldn't say the main school, one of the schools is at Unity headquarters. And of course, it's the home of Silent Unity, which is the 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week prayer line that you can call to get some support if you would like someone to pray with you. So, highly recommended. A few of us have gone. Gladys, you've been to Unity Village. They call it Unity Village. Anybody else gone to Unity Village? It's lovely, isn't it? It's a lovely place. All right. You want to try and pick? I know you said you had a question in there, so if you want, you can sneak it. I will never know. So he's going to pick it.
Well, it's just like, I don't know.
No, it's all right. Let's see. What would you say to the people who are expressing happiness over the loss of Charlie Kirk this week? I think you could do better. I think we need, so that's what I would say, is do you think you could do better? I think I would say, is this a sentiment that you would want to express for your child if they had a different view than you had? We humans are not always very good at allowing other people to have different points of view. And the problem with that is that we become so self-righteous about our way of seeing things that in many ways we become just as damaging as the people who we're accusing. And when that happens, then we move from we move to this an eye for an eye. And was it Martin Luther King? Or was it Mahatma Gandhi? It may have been Gandhi who said, an eye for an eye will make the whole world blind. And aren't we seeing that now? Where we've got self-righteous, I'm right. And because of it, we have this. I was at a comedy festival last night, and the comedian said, face it, the world's just bad right now. And it feels like that. And it's our opportunity to name it differently. It's our opportunity to say, I don't agree with you, and help me to understand. Because until we get to a place where we can understand what it is that makes a person say the things they do and believe the things they do, then there is no place for us to come together. And I don't agree with probably 90% of what Charlie Kirk would have said, for the record. But he had a right to an opinion. And apparently his opinion resonated with many, many people. So wouldn't it be interesting to find out why? And what is it about that opinion that was so meaningful to so many people? And then address what else it could mean. It was Jesus, actually, who said, an eye for an eye is what it used to be. But I tell you, turn the other cheek. And what he meant by that, I believe, is not allow the person to walk all over you, but not to end up being as entrenched in your own viewpoint as they are in theirs. Instead, try and see it differently. It is only through seeing it differently that we can move forward. And we were all born with the right to our own point of view. My prayer is that when we express our point of view, that it does no harm to anybody else. Did that help answer the question? Thank you. And thank you for the question. I also would say that here in Canada, we run the risk, as we do in the as they are seeing in the United States, of a very anti-immigration sentiment. We're seeing it here in this country. Every second person in this room is likely an immigrant. And if they're not, their parents were. I was on vacation, as you all know, so I was in Ajax, Ontario, and went down to the waterfront at Ajax, Ontario, and there is like a little memorial to the HMS Ajax. And part of the memorial was like being in an outdoor museum. It was quite lovely. There was a plaque with 2 immigration stories from people who were women who were refugees, came to Canada in the late 1940s, fleeing Ukraine. No, I can't remember what the countries were, so I'd better not say. But what was interesting was to read their accounts, and their accounts could be written today. That there are people complaining because there isn't enough housing for us, that we're taking away jobs from other people. The song remains the same, people, because we're human, and that's what we do. And that is just something I think it's helpful to know, is that when we have an influx of new, there will be resistance. Let's not be surprised by it. Instead, let's choose to change the words of the song, change the tune. Because some of these immigrants went on to do amazing things as Canadians. It's just part of where we are and what we do year after year, after generation after generation. In fact, in not that long ago on CBC, they talked about some archaeologists had found and unearthed some stuff in where they think the Hanging Gardens of Babylon are. And they unearthed something, and they worked out what this person was saying in the etchings that he had left behind. And this is in the time thousands of years ago, before Christ, BC. And the complaint was about the immigrants. It's what we do. We have the opportunity to change the tune. That's it. So let's look at all the different faces and all the different languages and all the different cultures and celebrate how interesting it is. This country is amazing because it has all of these ingredients. And we don't insist on uniformity. We celebrate the diversity. It makes it interesting. So it's not a pureed soup. It's a stew with lots of different tastes. How cool is that? A melting pot.
Well, the U.S. is a melting pot. I was taught in elementary school, the U.S. is a melting pot, Canada is a mosaic.
Oh, I love that. What Carl was saying is the U.S. He was taught that the U.S. is a melting pot. Canada is a mosaic.
I don't know if it's true or not.
I love it. What makes a much better, interesting picture? The mosaic. Anyway, see, you just get me started and I go. Thank you for the question. Gladys, can I come and get you to draw a question? And you can tell I'm quite passionate about that, just saying. Thank you. Falling on my pants. The question is, how do we keep ourselves open to connection and unity with our loved ones during times of struggle? How do we keep ourselves open to connection with our loved ones during times of struggle? Isn't this the story of the joy of our life, is to be able to do this? The thing to remember is, there are so many ways I could answer this. The first I would suggest is to think in terms of curiosity rather than judgment. If you can imagine that no person comes to a point of view without something going on that makes them or leads them to see the world in that way. That's true for each one of us. Surely it's true for the other person with whom we're having a struggle. So the first question that you might consider asking is, tell me more. I want to remain connected with you. Tell me more. There's no obligation on your part to agree with them. And the corollary is true. There is no obligation on their part to agree with you. And so often we say that we're open-minded and open-hearted, but it's only if people see things our way. And as soon as someone sees it differently, then we work to try and convince them differently. That's not your job. If your job is the presence of love, and you're having a challenge with someone, then one of the ways you can do that is to just tell me more. Help me understand. And then, again, you're under no obligation to continue. You can just say thank you. You know, there's a book that's hitting the bestseller lists right now by Mel Robbins called Let Them. Have you all heard of this book? It's worth the read. But it really speaks to Unity's third principle. Second and third principle. First principle, one power. It doesn't matter what you call it. Second principle, there's no spot that power is not, including each one of us. That means each one of us is part of life, part of nature, part of this beingness, that we, each of us, have meaning. Third principle, ideas lead to experiences. So if you have the idea that this person is wrong, then all you're going to see is their wrongness. But if you go with the idea of, this is a person I care about, and I don't agree with what they're doing, or I don't agree with what they're saying, that is struggle. And how would you like it if you were that person? What would you want? You would want someone to come to you and say, I'm having difficulty with what you're doing. Help me to understand. And then, because they are their own person, at some point, it is more empowering to let them. How's it worked for you when somebody else has come in and tried to do things for you for your own good? Doesn't make you feel good. It's disempowering. It's disrespectful. It's dehumanizing. All the things that we hate when it gets done to us. Same is true. You may not like it, but you're not them. And because that's sometimes really difficult, step 4, take time to be still. Take time to find the space between reaction and response so that you can respond in a way that is heartfelt without hurting. I think I've shown you guys or shared with you the idea of 2 hula hoops. One hula hoop here, them. One hula hoop here, you. And to the extent that you can keep those hula hoops touching so that you remain connected, but still apart, so that they are free to be who they are and you are free to be who you are. To the extent that you can do that, the healthier your relationship will feel, the more empowering they will feel, and the more you will be who you are, not invested as much in who they are. The goal, though, is not to do this with those hula hoops, and it's also not to do this and separate out completely, unless there's physical harm and so on that are included. So I hope that answers that question. All right, let's do one more, and that will be about half, and then there'll be opportunity for a question or two next week as well to add, if anyone wants to, because over the week I'm going to guess that somebody will want to. My nose is running, sorry. Pick a card. The word, I don't have a question, I just have the word sunshine. Okay, I can riff off sunshine. I'm assuming, did somebody actually write this as a question? It's great. Maybe it was a card that was down here already. So here's what I'll say about sunshine. Oh, what's this? Oh, for me? Thanks, Mom. Thank you, Chris. Everyone, Chris is on our board. She helps out with cleaning. She helps out with ushering. She helps out with announcements. She is amazing, and she does... You love your church, yeah. So one thing I'll say about sunshine, I'm not sure if this was a question or not, but I'm going to stick with it. If you ever are looking for a visual metaphor about God, creative energy, the force, the divine creator, whatever word you might want to have, think of the sun. Because the sun is what warms us. It is the sun that is always there, can be counted on. It stays pretty much in place, spinning, and it's us who spin around it. We say the sun rises and sun sets, but that's not actually true. But what is true is that it's always there, the source of life. And sometimes, as today, we don't see it, but we always know it's there. And sometimes, in the darkest clouds, when the sun starts to peek out, you see that little ray of silver lining. Behind every cloud is the silver lining called the sun. I'll leave it there today. And when you fly, you get above the clouds. You see that sun. Yeah, you get above the clouds and you'll see it sunny. Yeah, so cool. So there you go, sunshine. And over to you, Carl. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. I hope you had fun.